And what is up, YouTube? Damn, it's been at least a week since uploading it. I do apologise, I've just been feeling a bit rough for all the 12 subscribers that forced to subscribe because you know me or our family, so you're welcome. I actually thought I'd talk about something ridiculously embarrassing and hopefully humorous. But as an adult, how many times have you shit yourself? Because you know that's happened to me far more often than you think, and not just. I don't just mean I'm just sat there and but like I've had food poisoning a lot. I mean, I've had food poisoning about maybe 6 or 7 times, and oh man, it's made me so ill. And the first time I ever got it was I lived in Hasland in Chesterfield, which is in Derbyshire, and had this mushroom rice risotto thing that had no label on it, nothing. Actually, it wasn't mushroom. Actually, no, it wasn't mushroom. Let me just try and remember. Okay, it wasn't mushroom, but when I opened it after I cooked it, it smelled like mushroom like crazy, and that was just the bacteria. Now this was from it was called Continental or Continental something, I can't remember, the shop in Chesterfield, and it was one of those shops that at the time was new, where things were just dodgy. There were no labelling really, and it were like, where the fuck did you get this from? And things were out of date, and it was just, I didn't know, obviously. And I ate it, and oh my god, 2 hours later I was so ill. Like, I was just throwing up and just absolute diarrhea everywhere. And I'd never been in that much pain before. I actually thought I was going to die. And I ended up going to hospital, and because I was so ill. And I remember going in an ambulance, and the estate we're on was quite a new estate, so it had speed bumps everywhere. And literally every time the ambulance went over a speed bump, which went over really slow, I shit myself in ambulance. There's nothing you can do about it. If anyone's ever had like food poisoning or a really bad bug, like your bowels just open up, like you've got no muscle control whatsoever. It's just all liquid. It's absolutely crazy. And it didn't end there. So I'm in hospital for 6 hours before a doctor saw me. But they did tell me not to have any liquids. But when you're ill and you're severely dehydrated, you need liquids. You need it. And we're begging my mum, and I couldn't get out of bed, and she wouldn't give me any. Like, for 6 hours I was so dehydrated, it was horrible, and that would have really helped, I thought. So anyway, I finally got discharged about 6-7 hours later, and I think my mum had left me some new underwear and clothes. Yeah, that's right. And they were at home, and I got a taxi. Anyway, I'm in my room getting redressed, and I put on my underwear and trousers, and then I cough, and I shoot myself again. And I thought, I'm just gonna ride it out. I'm gonna just get in a taxi, and I'll just ride it out. And I couldn't. The smell was so bad. I had to go to the bathroom and basically throw my underwear away, clean myself up, and then get in taxi. And that was fun. That was my first experience. I've had other experiences where I had a Big Mac once. Yeah, man, I could have made millions off these companies, but when you come from a working class family, you don't really think about it, or you don't have the resources to have the lawyers pursue it. You don't think about it, but man, I could have made millions off these companies for just negligence and so ill. And no, it wasn't a Big Mac. Yeah, it was a Big Mac. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I was so ill again, and I was just vomiting, throwing up shit myself, fevers. Oh my god. I remember once when I was at uni. That's another story. I don't know what I'd eaten. I can't remember. I was back in Hasland. It was in between first and second year. I'd moved back to my parents for summer, for holidays. And I was dating someone, and anyway, I got really ill, and I was just there, and oh my god, I'd shit myself for like 2 days solid, throwing up, and then my girlfriend turned up, and at that time I was on my hands and knees, in a fetal position, but on my hands and knees facing forward, curled up with no clothes on, and I just poured my bowels out onto my quilt, and I just couldn't do it about it. Holy shit. And then she just walked in as I was doing it, and I was like, damn. Man, you know, I just couldn't do it. It gets worse, And so I go and run a bath. Yeah, and then I end up shitting myself while I'm in bath. And I'm laughing now, but oh my god, the pain, holy fuck, the pain. So I drank water out and I have to run a hot tap and wash everything off me. And I'm so ill at this point, I stumble out at the bath and I pass out. I actually just pass out from the pain, and I'm trapped in between the door. The door pushes in, I'm trapped in between the door and the bath, so no one can get in. Mum calls an ambulance, and they can't get in. And eventually, it takes probably about 30 minutes for me to move 2 feet one direction, because I'm so weak, I'm so ill, I can't stand up, I can't do anything. And as the ambulance are coming in, they get in there and they start to move me, and then you just hear this phrases, and like, oh, raspberry, and I'm like, no, I'm just shooting myself. And he's like, oh god, he just like backs out. My mum has to get like wipes and tissue and cloths and just wipe my arse for me. And then they put me into a wheelchair, and at this point I'm pretty scared because I'm strapped, my arms are strapped to my side, my legs and body are strapped into a wheelchair, and I'm stuck there. And they're carrying me down these stairs, these two guys, and my one slip, and I had no way to protect my head, and I was so terrified. Oh god. Anyway, that was another hospital appearance. And one at worst was, I was third year of uni living in Derby in this horrible house. Like, my window was falling out. Every time you ran the shower, the kitchen flooded several inches of water down the light socket. I'm surprised none of us died. It was just horrendous. It was such a horrible house. But we can't afford to move, you know. It was really bad. Really bad. And I always stayed to do my work over Christmas. I was a real grumpy bastard. I don't know. I never enjoyed like Christmas with family. I always thought I didn't deserve to be happy for some reason. So I always punished myself and just stayed on my own. Anyway, I was on my own, and I bought some eggs, and I had egg on toast, and I always overcook my eggs, so I know there was no problem with them. So I had eggs on toast, Christmas morning, 9 o'clock. By 12, I knew what were wrong. I mean, I had food poisoning again. And I cooked these eggs for well over 2 minutes. You know, they take like, 30, 40 seconds on high heat when you drop them in. And, oh my god, I'm throwing up. At this point, I'm on toilet, and I'm sat there shitting myself like nobody's business. And at the same time, I'm leant over the sink while on the toilet, throwing up at the same time. It is literally coming out of both ends at the same time, and I could do nothing about it. Absolutely nothing. It was so painful and so horrible. And you know what it's like when you're this ill and you got these type of illnesses. You're freezing, so you try and get warm, but as you get warm, you get a temperature which makes you really, really ill. So I got in bed, and I've got clothes on, a house coat, a leather coat, like a long trench coat, and my quilt. I'm sat there shaking violently, shaking like crazy. Cannot get warm. And then, but I am actually, you know, you feel cold, but I am actually got a really bad fever at this point. And every time that happened, it made me shit myself and throw up again. And this happened over and over for about 3 days. And I did not know what to do. I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, I couldn't sleep. I was just in constant pain, and it was so bad. It was so bad. And I remember, like, I had to wash myself off constantly, and at one point I just got in the shower, turned it on, and just laid at the bottom of the shower, letting the hot water run over me, and I was just shivering, spine-breaking shivering. I thought my spine was going to snap. I honestly did. It was so ridiculously painful. And I'm just trying to get warm by laying at the bottom of the shower, curled up, and oh pain. The pain. I'm laughing now, but I swear to God, I hope I never get it again. I really do. And another illness that I got quite a lot while I was at college was glandular fever. And I remember one time I knew I had it, but this girl I liked in the second year of college, I was first year, and she invited me to town in sort of 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it was dark then, it was winter. And I wanted to look like good, even though I knew I were freezing and had a temperature, so I wore a really short t-shirt that I had that I liked. It was kind of like a hybrid. And I walked into town, it was about 2 miles away, and what a mistake, I was freezing, I was in boots and my eyes were just totally puffed up and watered. I couldn't see, I can imagine I was just red and sweaty, and I swear to God everyone must have thought I was on drugs, and I had to go home, and I honestly didn't think I could make it. I stopped at a phone box and I had no cash on me, made a reverse call, and my stepdad were at work at times, so they couldn't pick me up, and I didn't think I was going to make it home. But I got it about once a year. About a year later, I ended up getting it again. And my mum and stepdad went to see their mum, and I was just left at home on the sofa. And I had to call them back. My temperature was ridiculously high. And they got back and they felt me. And they just ran an ice cold bath straight away. And they just dragged me into it, clothes fully on, and just rolled me into this bath of ice cold water. And within 30 to 60 seconds, the full bath of water was warm. They could feel it, they touched it. It was warm from the heat of my body. I mean, I've never experienced anything like that. And part of that same illness period, I think it was before I got put in the bath, I was on my own again. And the bathroom at that point one of the bathrooms was downstairs across the hallway from the living room. And I knew I was going to be sick and the bathroom door was open. And I got up from the sofa and I ran as fast as I could, and I was like in the doorway of the sofa. The bath is about 6 feet away at this point. There's like I'm in the door of the living room. There's like a 3-foot hallway, then about another 2 or 3 foot to the bath, and then the bath. And all the doors were open all the way through. And I projectile vomited as I was running. And I managed to make it about 6 foot into the bath. And I don't know if anyone's seen Exorcist, the original Exorcist, you know, when she's vomiting all that pea soup. It was literally like that. It was quite a hell of a feat, actually. I think it's weird how these stories stay with you. But I don't wish this on anybody. It was so painful. There was nothing enjoyable about it. It was so bad. And yeah, I mean, I've had some illnesses in my time, some pretty bad ones like that. I was attacked once in a nightclub trying to help somebody and broke my jaw, and 15 years later I'm still in pain. My nerves were shredded, metal plates, a lot of surgery. So I've had I remember once there's there's roundabouts that were like big spider webs made out of heavy cast iron. We used to get underneath them when we were kids and start pushing with our feet really fast. Your centre of gravity, you apply more force and it spins faster on the outside. And we ended up used to play this game where we used to do that, roll out, and then try and jump on it. You grab on, and the gravity like whips you off. And we've done it loads of times. It was a game we played often. So we do it one day, and I jump on, and I do half a rotation, and I fly off. And the side of the park, it was covered by big hills, and there was a big concrete railings around it. And and my foot just went into that and snapped, and I can't remember if I know I broke 2 of my toes. I'm sure I broke my ankle as well. I couldn't walk home anyway, so I ended up in hospital. They bandaged it up and things, and I go back down onto the park with crutches on. When I get out, we play a game again. I jump on. I'm wearing shorts, I think, because I think it was summer. I'm wearing shorts and I jump on. I get whipped off again. And this time, I take the skin from my ankle to my thigh clean off. I mean, talk about stupid and talk about bad luck. And that's not the only time I've taken my skin from thigh to ankle. I remember once I was at primary school, and I was going on a push bike down my estate, one of my estate roads, and I went round the corner. You know, you do like a racing manoeuvre and you lean over to turn, and there was a lot of loose gravel at the bottom, and I came off, and again, skin to ankle, ankle to thigh, skin straight off, and all the scab was all the way down my leg. And I remember sat in, what are they called? You have them at starter before class, and you go to a big hall. I can't remember what they're called. Like, there's announcements and things. Anyway, I can't believe I can't remember. But I'm sat there and I've got shorts on again. The sun's blistering down on this scab and it's just burning, coming through a glass like a magnifying glass. And I was like, small and too afraid to say anything. So I sat there for like 40 minutes with this magnifying beam of sunlight burning my scab. And it's crazy. As a kid, you never really fear injury or damage, do you? Like, we used to go on these rope swings. Like, I don't know if anyone used to build these. We had Hayley Woods, place where I lived in Hayley, and this wood was awesome. It wasn't very big, but in one of the centres, it looked like a meteor had hit, and there was a big crater just full of big bushes and nettles. And so we did these rope swings that went right over this crater, and we did a double one in a different place that went over the side of the crater. And what you do with the double one is the first person would go on, and as he starts to get to his jumping point, the second person runs like crazy, and the first person's momentum and weight whips the second person round at super speed. And I remember once I flew around, landed successfully, let go, and the rope and the stick went flying around a tree, wrapping around it. I turned around, cracking my nose, and I just started crying. Within 30 seconds, I had 2 black eyes and a big cut across my nose. I remember one of the times my little brother, who was quite small, he was probably about 6 or 7, he went on the big one over the crater, and as he went over, one hand slipped off and he's holding on with one hand and he just goes flying into this massive crater. It must have been a 20-foot drop into nettles, and oh my god, it was so bad. Speaking of nettles, I remember at Hayley Park, there was a brook that ran through the bottom of the park, and we used to climb these trees and jump over the brook. I remember once, it's onto a steep hill, and I remember once, shorts again, jumping over, shorts and t-shirt, jumping over, landing on the hill and rolling down into a massive pile of nettles. All my left arm and left leg just covered in blisters and sting. And you know how bad it is to get stung, it's horrible. I'm trying to find dock leaves and lay on and rub myself with them. It was just so bad. Happened right in front of 2 girls at school, so that were really nice. So yeah, there's some embarrassing and illness stories for me. Hope you enjoy it. Oh, I've got to say, I think my insomnia is probably the worst thing that I can think of. I mean, the way it makes you feel, can never ever sleep. I sleep, I mean, this is a conservative and generous estimate, probably no more than 2 hours in a 7-day period. Do you know what it's like being awake for that long? Your mind is distorted and damaged. You are miserable and unhappy, and you've no appetite, and all these things constantly happening. And I'm sure I mentioned it on a video more recently, that I had a stint where I was so bad with it, I did over 200 hours awake, over 8 days awake, no food, not one single bit of food. I had one glass of water in that 8 days and zero sleep. And I swear to God, I just wanted to die. I eventually ran a warm bath, and I was just hoping that I'd fall asleep and roll under it. I just didn't want. I've suffered from this for 20 years, and I swear to God, I can't cope with it. I have no choice, but I honestly can't cope with it. And I wanted it to end. I did. I wanted just to fall asleep and slide under and just not wake up. I really did. And I eventually, the next day, I called the hospital helpline, and they were really concerned. And I didn't realise my mobile number had changed, and I gave them the wrong number, so I never got a call back. Next day I made an emergency appointment and got some more sleeping tablets because I'd lost mine at that point. And they weren't going to give me any dangerous or something. They gave me 7, and I think I got about 2 hours sleep from those, which was just enough to ease the pain that I was in. So, yeah, I'm just saying, I have a pretty rough time of it in general. You know, never sleeping, always ill. I don't eat much. You know, I only eat. I've eaten once in the last 4 days a small microwavable chicken burger, and I hate it because I am hungry, but I've got no appetite. I can't face food. I find it very difficult. But I'm constantly hungry. You know, most people. If I get 4 hours sleep, that's a miracle. Like, for a long time I feel so rested afterwards. Yeah, most people get 8 to 10 hours, 6 to 10 hours. And, you know, my mind is constantly active for that time. And over repetitively. It repeats, and just drives me crazy. So anyway, me and my boy Mix is here on Bloodborne. And we're making our way to the wet nurse boss, and I know we started this level a long way back, but I thought I'd just have a longer playthrough. It's going to be, we're 22 minutes in, it's going to be a 33-minute video, and I just thought that, why not? It was a good fight. I remember doing this on my own, and it was pretty tough, I remember. But we had a good run of this and kicked some ass. My holy woodwick sword, and I love these executioner robes. I think these are my favourite, like still on grey armour-like cloak, and it just looks really nice. And the only problem with Bloodborne is the blood rocks that you need to plus 10 your weapons are so rare. One per playthrough, maybe 2, or if you do dungeons. So I've got 2 weapons fully upgraded, and they're the only 2 I can use really on the NG playthroughs. But, you know, I'd love to use some of the other weapons, but there's no chance. There's no chance. So, it's very frustrating. I forget what this thing is. It's not attacking. I think I kill it eventually, but it's creepy, innit? It's a creepy thing. I'm sure everybody knows this by now, but all the vampires and vampires. I love the Forsaken Castle, Kanehurst Castle. It's a beautiful scenery in it. A big castle in the snow in the mountains. Absolutely beautiful. And for those that don't know, which I'm sure you all do, these are not actually monsters or supernatural. The great ones that the world prays to are actually massive spaceborne aliens that can't reproduce. The only way they can reproduce is by infesting worlds with their blood, you know, the menstrual blood. And we absorb it and inject it into our veins so it gives us abilities or does something. And then we mutate and we spawn, and all these horrible creatures spawn, and yeah, it's actually aliens, which I find absolutely fascinating. You know, really. Miyazaki, a really unique guy. And everyone credits Miyazaki constantly, and he absolutely deserves it, because they are his creations and his vision. But you've got to think about what a big team he's probably got of art directors and art workers, script writers, level designers, and they're just as involved in this creation of this visual masterpiece that is Bloodborne and our Dark Souls. and I'm very excited about Dark Souls 3. I definitely will probably stream that, and I'll definitely do full playthrough of that game. That's going to be a big one for me. I'm kind of excited that it's the last one, because then I know all the lore from Dark Souls 1 and 2 thanks to some YouTubers, Epic Name Bro and a German spy in particular. Their full playthroughs, their lore series and their stuff is just immense with lore, and the connect. The fascinating thing about Dark Souls is that the actual lore and the information you get is so minuscule. I mean, you read item descriptions that are only like a sentence long, and every item has a description, and you have to piece it together from that, and then from some of the cutscenes and some of the dialogue that the characters have, the NPCs. But the lore that people put together is an absolute masterpiece. Really smart, dedicated people. Hats off to them. And this wet nurse, hell of a boss, isn't it? Look at that, like a huge crow type thing with multiple arms. Very cool looking. I don't think any of us die yet. I'm a bit scared because I've got like 800,000 souls left. But I've got 18 vials left and doing pretty well on that. So I didn't think we were going to die. I remember doing the last boss fight on the DLC, and I ran out of blood vials, and he had about a third of his health left over with 2 others, and I had to back fully off and just watch him, but they managed to defeat it. It was awesome. So anyway, there's Mirgo's Wet Nurse boss fight. Hope you enjoyed the commentary. Embarrassing, but funny when you look back, but I wouldn't wish it on anyone that's had food poisoning or glandular fever. You know how painful it is. It's very, very bad. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.